Welcome to the Network Edge Forum portion of the Congress's agenda. I'm Paul Parker Johnson with ACG Research, and I'll be your chair and host for this session. I've titled the session, Bringing New Applications and Services to Customer and Network Edge Locations using NFV and edge computing infrastructures. There are several portions of that. Largely, I mentioned both customer locations and network edge locations because these use cases that we're considering apply to each in different ways depending on the category that we're referencing. In total, the relevance from a service provider and an end customer point of view is huge because the main reason these solutions and these applications are being pursued is because they're different. They're brand new and they offer new revenue and new service delivery opportunities to the participants in the various ecosystems. So I think you'll find the subject very engaging. I'll take a minute up front to share some context that we have from the ACG point of view on the market as a whole because it is so big. And here let me just step you through this framework that we've been using to think about network edge deployments and edge computing deployments. You can see clearly a topology here listed, outlined on the slide with a few numbers inserted into it. Let me decode this and interpret it for you. What we've observed, as you can see here, in general, you have a framework that has endpoints and customer locations here on the far left of the diagram, and then various portions of deployment infrastructure located at places that are broadly associated with edge deployments in one level or another. But to put the numbers in context that we have here, the black numbers that are associated with, let's say, mobile network infrastructure sites or enterprise customer premises sites. These black numbers depict which ones of these are the most numerous from an edge computing deployment opportunity in the world at large. We've done some preliminary analysis this year to look at how big is the opportunity for different participants in the market overall. And basically you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sizes of deployment environment. And largely what this is saying is that the biggest number of edge computing, network edge infrastructure deployment opportunities exists in what you might call the far edge. Mobile network infrastructure sites such as vRAN, emerging vRAN sites, or enterprise customer premises sites such as manufacturing sites, retail sites, athletic stadiums, and so forth. Now the green numbers represent our initial thinking about how much money is at stake in each of these locations. And so the same rough rank ordering tends to appear. The size of the deployment infrastructure and opportunity at enterprise endpoints and further out network edges tends to be substantially greater in total than the infrastructure that's associated with, let's say, a next-generation central office or a metro area data center as far as edge computing is concerned. These things take a lot of time to think about. This is really just a snapshot. and I'm happy to chat about them offline. In the aggregate, this is many billions of dollars of opportunity when you look out into 2022, 2024, 2025 kind of time frame. There's a significant amount of net new investment that will occur in these environments to take advantage of the new opportunities. Now, before we get started on each case that our presenters are going to discuss, I'll just mention a couple of things, just to give a couple of quick snapshots of sample opportunities. One here, which Stefano is going to dig into a little bit more, is the case of bringing a private mobile broadband infrastructure to an end customer's environment, often called private LTE, which Stefano will go into in more detail. Here, what's being illustrated is a scenario that can't really be very well dealt with by Wi-Fi. So why would you do LTE in an enterprise environment to begin with? You would do it because it will be better for your end application and business use than using let's say, a less robust wireless approach. This particular case that's being shown, as you can see, is a resource extraction or energy industry environment where these drilling rigs and such can be kilometers separated from each other. And yet you need support for mobile users, and you need support for latency-controlled, high-bandwidth applications such as video surveillance. And in general, this scale of function has not been possible in the past. This is one example of a net new network edge use case. Another one, another one of our presenters will get into, is the topic of what actually is occurring from a virtual system infrastructure point of view at operator peering point locations, such as internet peering sites. This particular diagram here is just an illustration of a disaggregated peering point. You could just think of this as a big BGP router, for sake of simplicity. But the point being that as content is distributed further, as application logic is distributed closer and closer to groups of end users, then peering points themselves will disaggregate and grow and use this kind of architectural model to expand. And then a third application that another one of our presenters will be discussing is using virtual system infrastructures at residential broadband head-end locations. And the main motivation, the main point here is to take functions that have been individually implemented in separate, tightly coupled appliances in the past and make them virtual functions, such as transcoding, multiplexing, probing, and so forth, that have to do with video delivery in real time. But why would an operator be motivated to do this? Because over time, this virtual system infrastructure up here can be used for extra application logic, and they can deploy those applications faster. So these are examples of applications that will be net new. They are not ones that have been feasible economically or technically in the past, and they offer new revenue opportunities to operators looking forward. Now, so with those just as quick highlights, let's just have a quick look at what you're going to hear about.